A pregnant woman 8 months along, bleeding on the ground, her face destroyed from being beaten, broken ribs. Half an hour earlier, her boyfriend had beaten her with punches and kicks to her stomach. She managed to escape, but had nowhere to go, no one to turn to, dying of fear and pain. Until a car stopped. A man got out, and when he saw her situation, he made a decision that changed everything. What this guy did that night, who he really was, and how this story ended will leave you speechless. Stay till the end because the twists you won't believe. It was 2 a.m. on a cold Friday night in July. Marina was leaning against the freezing concrete wall of an almost empty parking lot in downtown Chicago, clutching her enormous 8-month belly with one trembling hand and trying to stop the blood flowing from the deep cut on her eyebrow with the other. The white shirt she was wearing was torn on the right sleeve, exposing a huge bruise spreading across her arm like spilled ink. Her bottom lip was swollen and split, with dried blood stuck in the corner of her mouth. There were red marks around her neck, fingerprints from when he had squeezed her throat until she almost passed out. She was shaking uncontrollably, but it wasn't just from the cold, although the temperature was low for a winter night. It was from fear, from pain throbbing in every part of her body, from despair so deep it felt like she was drowning in it, from shock at everything that had happened in the last few hours. Half an hour earlier, Marina had managed to escape from him, from the man who had sworn eternal love at the improvised courthouse altar, from the man who said he would take care of her forever, from the man who had transformed into a terrible monster when he found out she was expecting a baby. Derek had become increasingly violent during the 8 months of pregnancy. At the beginning of the relationship, he was attentive, caring, the perfect boyfriend every woman dreamed of having. He took her to dinner at nice restaurants, gave expensive gifts, introduced her to his family as if she were the woman of his life. But everything changed the day Marina showed him the positive pregnancy test. His face had transformed. The joy she expected to see never appeared. Instead came a cold, distant, almost disgusted expression. He said he wasn't ready, that she had done this on purpose to trap him, that his career as a lawyer would be damaged. In the first months, it was just the yelling. He yelled when he came home from work stressed. He yelled when the food wasn't the way he wanted it. He yelled when Marina asked if he had bought the prenatal vitamins the doctor had prescribed. Then came the shoving. A shove here, another there, always with the excuse that it was unintentional, that he was distracted, that she had been in the way. Then the slap started. The first slap Marina would never forget. It was because she had dared to question why he had arrived at 4 a.m. smelling of women's perfume. He had slapped her so hard she fell to the floor. He apologized later, cried, said it would never happen again, that he was very stressed at work, that it was just a difficult phase. Marina believed, wanted to believe, because she was 6 months pregnant, had no family, nowhere to go. Her parents had died in a car accident 3 years earlier. She was an only child, had no uncles, cousins, living grandparents. Derek was all she had, but that night had been different, worse than all the others. Marina was in the kitchen preparing dinner when Derek came home visibly drunk. She could smell the whiskey from meters away. He had bloodshot eyes, stumbling walk, slurred speech. He had lost an important case in court and was furious. "I worked a whole month on that case," he shouted, throwing his briefcase on the floor with force. "A whole month, and that son of a bitch judge screwed me." Marina tried to calm him down. "Honey, sit here. I'll make you some coffee. Tomorrow will be better." But Derek didn't want to be calmed. He wanted someone to take out his anger on. And Marina was there, vulnerable, pregnant, unable to defend herself. "You don't understand anything," he shouted. "You just sit there with that huge belly, spending my money, not working, not doing anything useful." Marina felt tears coming. "I wanted to work. You know that. But you said pregnant women shouldn't work, that it would be bad for the baby." "You think I care about the baby?" Derek laughed, but it was a bitter, cruel laugh. "I never wanted this kid. You trapped me. You tricked me." Marina shook her head, tears falling freely now. "I didn't trick you. We always used protection, but no method is 100%. You know that." "Liar!" he shouted, approaching her with heavy steps. "You set this up, poked holes in the condom, forgot the pill on purpose, something. You wanted to trap me because you knew that with my salary you'd have a good life without having to work." Derek was so close now that Marina could feel his hot breath reeking of alcohol on her face. She instinctively stepped back. "I didn't do any of that," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "And I want to work. I always did. You're the one who wouldn't let me." Don't blame me for your wrong choices, Derek said, and then his hand flew. The punch hit Marina on the left side of her face with such force that she spun and hit her head on the corner of the table. The pain was instant and sharp. She felt something warm trickling down her eyebrow. Blood. Marina fell to her knees on the floor, dizzy, vision blurred. Instinctively, she put her arms around her belly, protecting the baby. Please, she begged. Please stop. Think about the baby. I don't give a damn about the baby, Derek shouted, and then he kicked. His foot hit her ribs, once, twice, 3 times. Each kick was accompanied by a scream of rage. You ruined my life! Marina couldn't even scream. The pain was so intense she could barely breathe. She tasted blood in her mouth. And then she felt something worse. A warm liquid running down her leg. She looked down and saw blood. No, she whispered. No, no, no. My baby. My baby. Derek saw the blood and froze. For a moment, something like awareness passed through his eyes. What did I do? He whispered, running his hands through his hair. What did I do? But the awareness was short-lived. Panic took over. If anyone finds out about this, he said, more to himself than to her, I'll go to jail. My career is over. My life is over. All because of you. He looked at Marina with cold, calculating eyes. You're going to say you fell. Understand? You tripped, fell down the stairs, hit your head. An accident. Marina shook her head weakly. I need to go to the hospital. The baby. You're not going to the hospital, Derek said, because if you go, you'll report me. And I can't let that happen. He grabbed the car keys. I'm leaving. When I get back, you better be gone. I don't care where you go. You can go to hell if you want. But if you open your mouth to anyone, if you report me, I swear I'll find you. And next time, I'll finish the job. Understand? Marina didn't respond. She was too shocked, in too much pain. Derek left, slamming the door so hard the picture on the wall fell and broke. Marina stayed there on the kitchen floor for long minutes, unable to move. The pain in her ribs was unbearable. It felt like they were broken. Blood continued flowing from her eyebrow and mouth. And the blood between her legs terrified her. She didn't know if the baby was okay. She didn't feel the constant kicks she had felt before. Please, God, she prayed. Please don't let my daughter die. She has no fault in any of this. Save her. I'll do anything, but save her. With a strength she didn't even know she had, Marina managed to get up. Every movement was agony, but she needed to get out of there. If Derek came back, and came back still angry, she didn't know what he was capable of doing. She grabbed her purse that was on the couch, stuffed some clothes inside without even looking properly at what she was grabbing, and left the apartment. She went down the 5 flights of stairs because she was afraid of getting stuck in the elevator and Derek coming back and finding her there. Each step was torture. When she reached the street, she was almost passing out from pain and exhaustion. Marina walked aimlessly for over an hour. The streets were almost empty at that hour. The few cars that passed didn't even slow down. The few people she crossed quickly looked away, not wanting to get involved. A pregnant woman, injured, bleeding, and nobody stopped to help. It was like she was invisible. Or worse, like she was a problem nobody wanted to have. Marina thought about going to the police, but what Derek had said echoed in her head. If you report me, I'll find you. He knew people, had money, had influence, was a lawyer, knew how to work the system. He'd probably managed to get out and come after her, and she had nobody to protect her. Nobody. She thought about going to the hospital, but at the hospital they'd ask questions. They'd want to know how she got hurt. What if they called the police? Derek would find out. No, she couldn't go to the hospital. At least not yet. She needed to think. Needed a plan. But the pain was getting worse. Contractions were starting. They weren't labor contractions yet, but they were warning contractions. Her body was going into stress. The baby was in danger. Marina ended up in that parking lot because she simply couldn't walk anymore. Her legs couldn't take it anymore. She leaned against the wall and slid to the ground, hugging her belly, crying silently. Sorry, my daughter, she whispered. Sorry mommy can't protect you better. Sorry for everything. That's when she heard the sound of an engine. A high-end imported car entered the parking lot, the engine practically silent, just a smooth controlled purr that only very expensive cars make. It was a black sedan, elegant, with sports wheels that gleamed under the parking lot lights. Dark windows. Interior she could see was light leather even from far away. the car parked about 20 yards from her. Marina tried to hide more in the shadows. She didn't want anyone to see her like this. Didn't want questions. Didn't want involvement. Just wanted to disappear. The driver's door opened and a young guy got out. He must have been about 28, 29 years old. Tall, thin, but athletic. Wearing an expensive brand gray hoodie. That type of clothing that looks simple but costs a fortune. Black joggers. Pristine white sneakers. Black cap. He was looking at his phone, clearly distracted with something on the screen, probably coming back from some party or event. But then he looked in her direction. Stopped. Stared for a long moment. Marina could see his expression changing. Surprise, confusion, concern. Most people at that moment would have looked away, would have gotten back in the car and left, would have pretended they saw nothing. But this guy didn't do that. He put his phone in his pocket and started walking toward her. Marina panicked. What if it was someone Derek knew? What if Derek had sent someone to follow her? What if it was someone dangerous? "Stay away from me," she said, trying to sound threatening, but her voice coming out only weak and scared. "I'll call the police. Don't come closer." The guy stopped immediately, raising both hands in a universal gesture of peace. "Hey, calm down," he said, and his voice was soft, gentle, without any threatening tone. "I'm not going to hurt you. Promise, I just want to help." That's what they all say, Marina thought bitterly. Derek also said he wanted to take care of her. Look how that turned out. "Nobody wants to help," she said, the words coming out with difficulty because the swollen lip hurt when she spoke. "Everybody just wants to get ahead, take advantage." "I know how it must seem," the guy said, taking another step but slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal that could flee at any moment. "A stranger approaching you in the middle of the night. But I swear on everything sacred I just want to help. You're hurt. You're bleeding. And you're pregnant. You need urgent medical care." Marina wanted to laugh, but it hurt too much. He didn't understand. Nobody understood. "I can't go to the hospital," she said. "They'll ask questions. They'll call the police. And if they call, he'll find you," the guy completed, immediately understanding the situation. "It was your boyfriend who did this, wasn't it?" "That's none of your business," Marina responded, but there was no strength in her voice, just exhaustion. "You're right, it's none of my business," he admitted. "But that doesn't change the fact that you need help, and I can help in a way that doesn't involve public hospitals, police, or anything that could put you in danger." Marina looked at him with suspicion. "Why would you do this? You don't know me from anywhere." The guy sighed, running his hand over his face, thinking about how to explain. "My name is Jimmy," he began. "I know that name doesn't mean anything to you now, but I have a YouTube channel. A big channel. Very big. 75 million subscribers. I make challenge videos and mainly help people. It's literally what I do. It's who I am." Marina kept looking at him without understanding. She hadn't had a phone for weeks. Derek had broken hers in a fit of rage and never bought another. She had no idea who the famous YouTubers were. "If you want," Jimmy continued, "you can use my phone and look up my name, Jimmy Santos. My channel will come up, my videos, millions of comments from people I've already helped. I'm not lying. Helping people is what I do." Marina didn't know if she believed, but she was getting dizzy. Blood loss was starting to affect her. Contractions were getting stronger. She felt like she was going to pass out at any moment, and if she passed out there, alone, nobody would find her until it was too late. "You're bleeding a lot," Jimmy said, concern clear in his voice. "And from what I'm seeing, you might be having contractions. You and the baby need help now. Not in a little while. Now." "I can't pay," Marina whispered. "I don't have money. I don't have anything." "I'm not asking for money," Jimmy said firmly. "I'm offering help. For free. No conditions. No expectations. You just need to trust me for 2 hours. 2 hours. If after those 2 hours you want to leave, I'll take you wherever you want. But at least let me take care of these injuries and make sure the baby is okay." Marina closed her eyes. She felt the world spinning. She had no choice. She was going to pass out or worse if she stayed there. And the baby. She needed to think about the baby. "Okay," she whispered so low Jimmy almost didn't hear. "Okay, can you walk to the car?" he asked. Marina tried to get up and her legs failed. She was going to fall again if Jimmy hadn't run and carefully held her arm. Slowly, he said, "I'll help you. Put your arm around my neck." They walked slowly to the car. Each step was agony for Marina. She felt her ribs screaming in pain, the cut on her eyebrow throbbing, the split lip burning. Jimmy opened the back door of the car. Marina got in with difficulty and almost cried when she sat on the seat. It was soft leather, still warm from the seat heater Jimmy must have used on the way there. So different from the cold, hard ground where she had spent the last hour. "Lie down here," Jimmy said, grabbing an expensive jacket that was on the front seat and placing it under her head like a pillow. "Try to relax. We're on our way." While driving, Jimmy called someone. The phone rang 3 times before someone answered with a sleepy voice. "Dr. Amanda," Jimmy said, "I'm so sorry to call at this hour. I know it's very late, but it's an emergency. I have a pregnant woman, 8 months gestation, multiple injuries to face and body, appears to be domestic violence, possible vaginal bleeding, possible premature contractions. I need you to come to my house now. Can you?" There was a pause, and then Jimmy continued. "I know it's asking a lot, but she can't go to the hospital. The abuser might find her there. It needs to be confidential." Another pause. "Whatever you want, doctor. Name your price. This isn't about money. It's about saving a life. 2 lives. Another pause, and then Jimmy smiled. "Thank you. Thank you so much. See you in 20 minutes. Marina heard everything in a daze. Bleeding. She had forgotten for a moment about the pain to focus on the blood between her legs. She put her trembling hand on her belly. "Sophia," she whispered to the baby. "Please hang on. Mommy's going to get help. We're going to be okay. We have to be okay." "What's your name?" Jimmy asked while driving through the empty early morning streets, always respecting red lights even without any other car in sight. "Marina. Marina Costa." "Beautiful. And the baby? Do you know the gender?" "Girl." "Sophia." "Sophia," Jimmy repeated, and there was a smile in his voice. "Beautiful name for a girl. My sister also has a saint's name, Francisca. We call her Fran. Does your sister live with you?" Marina asked, trying to distract herself from the pain with conversation. "No. She lives in Portland with her husband and 2 kids, but we see each other every week. Family is important to me." Marina felt a pang of envy and sadness. She had no family, would never have again. "Do you have family, Marina?" Jimmy asked gently. "No. My parents died 3 years ago. Car accident. I'm an only child. Don't have uncles, cousins, grandparents. Don't have anyone." "I'm sorry," Jimmy said, and it seemed genuine. "Losing your parents must be one of the worst pains in the world." "It was," Marina admitted. "Still is. Every day." They stayed silent for a few minutes. Then Jimmy asked the question Marina knew would come. "The guy who did this to you, is he the baby's father?" "Yes," Marina answered, closing her eyes. "Derek. We dated for a year before I got pregnant. He was different in the beginning, kind, attentive. But when he found out about the pregnancy, he changed, became violent." "Did he hit you before today?" Jimmy asked, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Marina could see the contained rage there. "Yes, several times. It started with shoving and slaps. Today was the first time he really beat me, with punches and kicks. I thought he was going to kill me." "Marina," Jimmy said, and there was something like steel in his voice now. "You can't go back to him. Never. No matter what he says, what he promises, what he cries. Men who hit women don't change. They only get worse." "I know," Marina whispered. "I know that now. But where do I go? I don't have a job, don't have money, don't have family, don't have friends. He isolated me from everyone in recent months. Where do I go with a newborn baby?" "You come to my house," Jimmy said simply. "For as long as you need. I have 5 empty bedrooms. I have a cook, housekeeper, security 24 hours. You'll be safe there. And we'll figure out the rest later, one day at a time." Marina wanted to argue, wanted to say she couldn't accept so much generosity from a stranger, but she had no strength and no choice, so she just whispered, "Thank you." The tall wrought iron gate opened automatically when the imported car approached. Marina looked out the window, and her mouth opened in surprise. The mansion was even more impressive up close. 3 floors of pure modern architecture, large glass panels that allowed seeing the illuminated interior, exposed concrete, noble wood in details. garden with strategic lighting that made each plant look like a work of art. A fountain in the middle of the front garden with water falling in cascade. The garage was partially open, and Marina could see other cars inside. A white imported SUV, a low red sports car, a big gleaming motorcycle. "Is all this yours?" she asked, barely able to believe it. "Yeah," Jimmy answered, parking in front of the main entrance. "I know it seems like a lot. Seems like too much. Sometimes even I find it strange to live in a place like this, but it's what I managed to build with the channel." The main door opened before they even got out of the car. A woman in her 50s appeared, gray hair pulled back in a bun, wearing a nightgown under a thick robe. Must have woken up in a hurry. "Jimmy, what happened?" she asked, her voice full of concern. "Carmen, this is Marina," Jimmy said, carefully helping Marina out of the car. "She needs help. Needs a safe place to stay." Carmen looked at Marina, saw the injuries, the blood, the huge belly, and her expression changed from concern to determination. "Come with me, dear," she said, taking Marina's other arm to help support her. "Let's take you to the ground floor suite room. It has a private bathroom. It's easier. The doctor is already on her way." They helped Marina enter the house. Even in the condition she was in, Marina couldn't help but notice the opulence. The entrance hall had a very high ceiling, must have been about 20 feet. A marble staircase led to the second floor. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Expensive paintings on walls. Floor so shiny it reflected everything like a mirror. Carmen and Jimmy took Marina down a wide hallway to a suite on the ground floor. The room was the size of a small apartment. King-size bed with white linens that seemed to have 1,000 thread count. Noble wood furniture. Huge TV on the wall. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the side garden. And the bathroom. Oh my God, the bathroom! Marina could see through the open door. It was marble, with a jetted tub, glass shower with multiple jets, double vanity with 2 sinks. Even had a separate toilet with a door. "Sit here on the bed," Carmen gently instructed. "I'll get clean towels and warm water to clean these wounds before the doctor arrives. Don't want them to get infected." Carmen left and quickly returned with a basin of warm water, soft white towels, and a first aid kit. She began cleaning the blood from Marina's face with extreme care, her hands trembling but gentle. "Who did this to you, dear?" she asked quietly. "My boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend now." Carmen stopped for a second, anger passing over her face. "Son of a bitch," she murmured. "Forgive my language, but there's no other word. Hitting a woman is already cowardice. Hitting a pregnant woman is monstrosity." Marina said nothing. Just let Carmen clean the wounds while silent tears flowed. "I don't know if you know," Carmen continued while working, "but Jimmy has a huge heart. He can't see someone needing help and not do something. I've worked for him for 5 years, and I've seen him bring people here dozens of times. Families who lost homes in fires, sick children who needed treatment, elderly people who had nowhere to stay. He helps everyone, and never asks for anything in return." "Why?" Marina asked. "Why would anyone be like that?" "Because he knows what it's like to have nothing," Carmen explained. "His mother worked as a cleaning lady her whole life to raise him and his sister. They went hungry, went cold. There was a time they lived in their car. But some people helped, and now that he can, he helps others. It's a cycle of good, you know?" A knock on the door interrupted the conversation. It was a woman in her 40s, brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, thin-framed glasses, wearing jeans and a simple shirt but carrying a large professional medical bag. "Marina," she said, entering. "I'm Dr. Amanda. I've worked with Jimmy for years. I'm going to take care of you and your baby now, okay? You're in good hands." The doctor opened the bag and took out several instruments. "First, I'm going to examine the external injuries," she explained. "Then I'll do an ultrasound to see how the baby is. And finally, I'll examine internally to see where this bleeding is coming from. It might be normal from trauma, but I need to be sure. It might hurt a little, but I'll be as gentle as possible. Promise." For the next hour, Dr. Amanda worked meticulously. First, she cleaned the deep cut on the eyebrow. "It's going to need stitches," she said. 5 stitches. I'll use local anesthetic, so it won't hurt much." Then she examined the split lip. "This one will heal on its own. Just need to keep it clean." Then she moved to the bruises. One on the arm, another on the ribs, another on the neck. She felt each one carefully. "The ribs," she said, frowning. "I think there are 2 cracked. I'll order an X-ray later to confirm, but I can't do anything besides giving you pain medication and recommending rest. Cracked ribs have no treatment besides time. Finally, she set up the portable ultrasound machine. "Let's see Sophia," she said with an encouraging smile. Marina held her breath while the doctor passed the cold transducer over her belly. The seconds seemed like hours, and then thump, 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 thump. The sound of the baby's heartbeat filled the room, strong, regular, perfect. Marina started crying, not from pain this time, from relief, from gratitude, from absolute love for that little life inside her that had survived despite everything. "Is she okay?" Marina asked with a trembling voice. "She's great," Dr. Amanda answered, showing the ultrasound screen. "Look here. The heartbeat is perfect, 140 per minute, which is excellent. She's in the right position, adequate weight for gestational age. You protected her, Marina. Even with everything that happened, you protected your daughter." Marina looked at the screen, seeing that small form moving slightly. The little arms, the little legs, the little face. Sophia, her daughter, her reason to keep fighting. "Hi, my daughter," she whispered. "Mommy's here. And never, never again will anyone hurt you. Mommy promises." Dr. Amanda completed the internal exam. "The bleeding is superficial," she explained. "From trauma to external tissues. Nothing internal. The uterus is intact. The cervix is closed. There's no immediate risk of premature labor." "But Marina," she continued, getting serious, "you were very, very lucky today. If he had kicked 1 centimeter higher, he could have ruptured the placenta or caused detachment. You and the baby could have died. You need to understand the gravity of what happened." "I understand," Marina said. "That's why I'm not going back. Never again." "Good," the doctor said. "And you need to file a police report. These photos I took of the injuries are evidence. The medical report is evidence. You have a strong case. He can't do this and go unpunished." "I'm afraid," Marina admitted. "He said if I report him, he'll find me. He knows people, has money. He's a lawyer, knows how to work around the system." "But you also have someone now," Dr. Amanda said, looking at Jimmy, who was at the door. "You have Jimmy. And believe me, Jimmy doesn't let anyone hurt the people he helps. Never." After the doctor left, leaving a prescription for pain medication safe for pregnant women and vitamins, Carmen helped Marina take a hot bath. She put a plastic bench in the shower for Marina to sit on because she couldn't stand for long. The hot water falling on her aching back was almost as good as medicine. Carmen had set aside clean, comfortable clothes, soft sweatpants, a loose t-shirt, a huge fluffy robe, clothes that seemed to cost more than the monthly salary Marina earned as a teacher before being fired. When Marina came out of the bathroom, it was almost 5 in the morning. The sun was starting to rise outside. Jimmy was in the living room connected to the suite, sitting on the couch, waiting. "How are you?" he asked. "Better," Marina answered honestly. "Less pain. The medicine is working." "And the baby?" She took a deep breath. "The baby is okay. That's great. That's all that matters." They stayed silent for a moment. "Marina," Jimmy began, "I know you're exhausted. I know you went through the worst night of your life. But I need to ask you something." "Can I?" Marina nodded. "What do you want to do? Regarding Derek? Do you want to file a police report? Want to file for a protective order? Or do you just want to disappear and start over somewhere else? I'll help you with any decision." "But I need to know what you want," Marina thought. A few hours ago, she just wanted to run and hide, was too afraid to face Derek. But now, with the baby safe inside her, with a safe place to stay, with people willing to help, she felt something different. She felt anger. Anger at everything Derek had done to her. How he had destroyed her self-esteem. How he had isolated her from everyone. How he had put her daughter's life at risk. "I want to report him," she said, her voice firm for the first time that night. "I want him to answer for what he did. Not just to me, but to all the other women he might do this to in the future. He can't get away with it." Jimmy smiled. "That's my girl. We're going to do this right. I'll call my lawyer right now. Best defense attorney in Los Angeles. He'll take care of everything. And I'll go with you to the police station. You won't be alone at any moment. Promise." "Thank you," Marina said, and started crying again. "Thank you for everything. For saving me. For believing me. For not judging me." Jimmy stood up and approached slowly. "Can I give you a hug?" he asked. Marina nodded. She needed a hug. Needed to feel that someone cared. Jimmy's hug was gentle but firm. Protective, like an older brother. Marina allowed herself to cry on his shoulder, releasing days and days of tension and fear and pain. "You're so much stronger than you imagine," Jimmy whispered. "You survived something many women don't survive. And now you're going to fight. You're going to get justice. And I'll be here every step of the way. Promise." And he kept that promise. The next day, after Marina had slept for 12 straight hours for the first time in months, Jimmy took her to the police station. He had hired the best lawyer specializing in domestic violence in the city, Dr. Beatrice Mendez, a 50-year-old woman with 30 years of experience and a reputation for never losing a case. Dr. Beatrice met with Marina before they went to the station. "Marina," she said, her voice both gentle and firm. "I read the medical report. I saw the photos of the injuries. This is serious assault. Aggravated bodily harm due to vulnerability, since you were pregnant. He could get up to 12 years in prison. But I need you to tell me everything. From the beginning. Every time he hit you, every threat, everything. Because the more evidence we have, the stronger our case." Marina told everything. Every shove, every slap, every punch, every threat, every time he had said it was her fault, every time he had said nobody would believe her. Dr. Beatrice recorded everything, took detailed notes, made a complete timeline of the abuse. "Perfect," she said when Marina finished. "Now we're going to the police station to file the report. And we're going to request an emergency protective order. Are you ready?" Marina took a deep breath. She was scared, but she was angrier than scared. "I'm ready." The police station was an old building downtown. Peeling walls, smell of old paper and reheated coffee. But the detective who attended them, Detective Marcia Santos, was a woman in her 50s with kind but determined eyes. She listened to Marina's story with absolute attention. Didn't interrupt once, just listened. When Marina finished, showing the photos of the injuries and handing over the medical report, the detective took everything with hands trembling with rage. "This man is a monster," she said without mincing words. "And he's going to answer. You can be sure. I'm going to request preventive detention. I'm going to request an emergency protective order. And I'll do everything in my power to ensure you and your baby are safe." "Thank you," Marina whispered. The detective took her hand. "You were very brave coming here. Many women don't have this courage, but now you're doing the right thing. Not just for you, but for all the women he could hurt in the future. You're saving lives." The police report was filed. Photos were attached. Medical report was attached. Written testimony was recorded. Within 48 hours, Derek would be notified of the protective order. And depending on the judge's decision, could even be arrested preventively. When they left the police station, Marina felt lighter than she had felt in months. She had finally taken the first step to free herself. But Derek didn't take it well. When he received the notification, he went into a rage. He called Marina's cell phone over 50 times. Since she had turned off the device, he started sending messages. Hundreds of them. "You're going to regret doing this. You cheated on me and now want to destroy me? I'm going to find you. And when I find you, you're going to pay. This kid is going to grow up without a father because of you. You're a lying whore. Nobody's going to believe you. I have friends. I have money. I'm going to hire the best lawyers and sue you for slander." Each message was more threatening than the last. Dr. Beatrice instructed Marina not to delete anything. "Each threat is more evidence," she explained. "He's digging his own grave." But Derek didn't stop there. He started a smear campaign on social media. He created posts saying Marina was a liar, that she had made everything up, that she was a scammer trying to get money. "Beware of this woman," said one of the posts with an old photo of Marina. "She falsely accused me of assault. The truth is she cheated on me, got pregnant by someone else, and now wants to pin it on me. She's living with a rich YouTuber now. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's obviously a scam." The post started going viral. Derek's friends shared. Acquaintances shared. People who had never seen either Marina or Derek started opining. "She does seem like a scammer. Poor guy. Women do this all the time to get alimony. I don't believe her." Marina saw the posts and felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. "People believe him," she told Jimmy, her hands shaking. "They think I'm lying, that I'm a scammer." "Leave it to me," Jimmy said, jaw clenched. I'm going to end this now. He got his professional camera and set it up in the studio. He recorded a 15-minute video. He started by explaining how he met Marina, showed photos of her injuries, with her face covered to protect identity, showed the medical report, explained that he had seen everything with his own eyes. Guys, Jimmy said, looking straight at the camera, I have 75 million subscribers. Many of you trust me, have followed me for years, know the type of content I make, know I don't lie, and I'm saying now, looking you in the eyes, Marina is telling the truth. She was brutally assaulted. I saw the injuries, I saw the cracked ribs, I saw the terror in her eyes. This isn't a scam. It's a woman fighting to survive and protect her baby. He showed screenshots of Derek's threatening messages. Look at this. Threats. Hundreds of them. Is this how an innocent man acts? Sending death threats? The video was posted and exploded. In 6 hours it had 20 million views. In 12 hours, 30 million. Comments changed completely. Jimmy's right. This Derek is an abuser. Marina, be strong. We're with you. Who believes Derek after seeing these threats? Cancel this abuser. The tide turned. Derek suddenly wasn't the victim anymore. He was the villain. His photo started circulating. People recognized him on the street. Work colleagues started avoiding him. The law firm where he worked called him into a meeting. Derek, the senior partner said, these accusations are very serious. They're tarnishing the firm's reputation. You're suspended without pay until this is resolved. But I'm innocent, Derek protested. She's lying. The evidence suggests otherwise, the partner said coldly. And even if you are innocent, public perception is against you. We can't have someone like this representing our firm. Derek left the meeting in shock. In 48 hours, he had lost everything. His job, his reputation, his friends, and the blame, in his mind, was all Marina's. If she hadn't reported, if she had stayed quiet, if she had accepted everything like she always had, none of this would have happened. Rage took over. Rage and alcohol. Derek started drinking. A lot. Spent days locked in the apartment drinking whiskey and planning revenge. 2 weeks after the report, on a new moon night, Derek took the car and went to Jimmy's mansion address. He had gotten the address from a private investigator he hired with the last remnants of money he had. He was completely drunk, stumbling, but determined. He was going to talk to Marina. He was going to make her withdraw the complaint. He was going to make her say she lied, one way or another. The mansion's security system detected him as soon as he started climbing the wall. Alarms went off. Security lights came on. The 3 security guards Jimmy had hired ran to the location. Derek was shouting from the top of the wall. Marina! Marina, come out here, you bitch! You destroyed my life! Show your face so we can talk! You need to withdraw this complaint. Need to say you lied. The guards grabbed him before he could jump to the other side. Sir, you need to leave. Now. Or we're calling the police. I'm not leaving until I talk to her, Derek shouted, trying to break free. I have a right. She's my girlfriend, my daughter. Inside the house, Marina heard the screams and froze in fear. Jimmy was beside her immediately. He's here, she whispered. Derek is here. How did he find me? Doesn't matter, Jimmy said, grabbing the phone. He violated the protective order. He's invading private property. He's threatening you. The police will arrest him now. Jimmy went out to deal with the situation, while Carmen stayed with Marina, holding her hand. He's not going to get you, dear, Carmen said firmly. We won't let him. Outside, Jimmy confronted Derek. Derek, he said, voice controlled but cold. Derek looked at him with absolute hatred. You're to blame for everything. You turned her against me. You destroyed my relationship. My life. I didn't destroy anything. You destroyed it when you laid hands on her. She's lying, Derek shouted, tears of rage mixed with alcohol flowing. I never hit her. Then explained the cracked ribs, the stitches on the eyebrow, the bruises all over her body. She fell. It was an accident. Fell? Jimmy repeated, voice loaded with disbelief. She fell and magically hurt herself in 12 different places? Fell and cracked 2 ribs? You think anyone's going to believe that? I have photos. I have medical report. I have my doctor's testimony. You have nothing but lies. Derek tried to lunge at Jimmy, but the guards held him tight. I'm going to sue you, he shouted. I'm going to sue her. You're going to pay dearly for this. You can sue. Jimmy said calmly. "My lawyers are eager to destroy you in court. And by the way, the police are already on their way. You just violated a protective order, invaded private property. You're drunk and threatening someone. You're going to jail today." "No!" Derek shouted, trying to break free. "No! Please! I've already lost everything. My job, my friends, my reputation. I can't go to jail." "Should have thought about that before hitting a pregnant woman," Jimmy said without any pity. The police arrived in 5 minutes. 2 squad cars, 4 officers. When they saw Derek drunk, aggressive, shouting threats, they handcuffed him immediately. He kept shouting while being dragged to the squad car. Marina, you're going to regret this. I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to..." The squad car door slammed, cutting off the threat. Marina watched everything from a second-floor window, trembling. Jimmy went up and hugged her. "It's over," he said. "He's arrested. He can't hurt you anymore." "But what if he gets out?" Marina asked. "What if they pay bail? What if he comes back?" "He won't get out," Jimmy guaranteed. "Violating a protective order is a non-bailable offense. He'll stay locked up until trial, and after trial, he'll be locked up again for a long time. I promise you're safe." And Marina believed. For the first time in a long time, she believed she might really be safe. The following months were recovery, physical and emotional. Marina did therapy 3 times a week with a psychologist specializing in trauma and domestic violence. Gradually, she rebuilt her self-esteem. She came to understand that nothing that happened was her fault, that she didn't provoke, that she didn't deserve, that violence is never justifiable. She gained weight healthily. The baby grew strong. The injuries healed, leaving only a few small scars, one on the eyebrow that would stay forever. But Marina decided to see that scar not as a mark of pain, but as a mark of survival, of strength. Derek was tried 3 months later. The trial was quick. The evidence was overwhelming. Photos of injuries, medical report, Marina's testimony, Jimmy's testimony, Dr. Amanda's testimony, Carmen's testimony, the threatening messages, the mansion invasion. Derek's lawyer tried to argue self-defense, that Marina had provoked, that there was reasonable doubt, but the jury didn't buy it. Derek was convicted of aggravated bodily harm with vulnerability, aggravation, threat, and violation of protective order. 5 years in prison in closed regime. When the sentence was read, Marina felt an enormous weight lift from her shoulders. She was free. Really free. And 2 weeks later, Sophia was born. It was on a Sunday morning. Marina woke up at 6 with regular contractions. "Jimmy," she called from her room, "I think it's time." Jimmy appeared running, his hair all messy from sleep, wearing only shorts. "Time? Like the time for real?" "Yes, Jimmy, time for the baby to be born." Okay. He went into total panic mode. "Your bag. Where's your bag?" "It's been in the car for 2 weeks," Marina said, laughing, even with the pain from the contraction. "You're the one who insisted on leaving it there." "Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go then." The trip to the hospital was chaotic. Jimmy drove like he was running from the police. "Jimmy, slow down!" Marina shouted. "You're going to kill us before the baby is born. Sorry, I'm nervous." At the private hospital Dr. Amanda had chosen, Marina was taken straight to the delivery room. It was a luxury suite that looked more like a 5-star hotel room than a hospital. Jimmy tried to go along, but the nurse asked, "Are you the father?" Jimmy hesitated. Marina answered for him. "He's the most important person in my life. If he doesn't go in, I don't go in." The nurse sighed but smiled. "Okay. But put this on." Labor lasted 8 hours. 8 hours of Marina squeezing Jimmy's hand so hard he was sure she was going to break his fingers. 8 hours of increasingly strong contractions. 8 hours of Jimmy saying, "You can do it. You're almost there. You're the strongest woman I know." And then, at 2 in the afternoon on a sunny Sunday, Sophia was born. 7 pounds, 5 ounces, 20.5 inches, dark hair, eyes closed, crying loudly. When the nurse placed the baby on Marina's chest, the world stopped. Everything that had happened, all the suffering, all the pain, everything was worth it for that moment. "Hi, my daughter," Marina whispered, tears flowing freely. "Hi, Sophia. Mommy's here. And never will anyone hurt you. You're safe. We're safe. And Mommy loves you more than anything in this world." Jimmy was crying too. No shame, tears falling down his face while looking at that scene. At the woman he had saved and who had become so important in his life. And at the baby who had survived against all odds. Want to hold her? Marina asked. I don't know how, Jimmy admitted. Come, I'll teach you. Marina carefully placed Sophia in Jimmy's arms. He held that small, perfect thing and felt something change inside him. Something he couldn't explain. Welcome to the world, Sophia, he whispered. You have the bravest and strongest mother that exists, and I promise I'm going to protect you both. Always. I'll be here at every step, at every difficulty, at every joy. You're my family now, and nobody messes with my family. The following months were adaptation. Sophia cried a lot at night. Marina was exhausted, but Jimmy was always there. He woke up at dawn to help, changed diapers, warmed bottles, sang terrible lullabies that somehow calmed the baby. They became a team, a family. Marina started realizing she was feeling something more for Jimmy, something beyond gratitude, something beyond friendship. She was falling in love for the way he held Sophia so carefully, for the way he looked at her like she was the most important person in the world, for the way he never charged anything, never expected anything in return, just gave, and kept giving. 6 months after Sophia's birth, on a hot summer night, they were in the garden. Sophia sleeping in the stroller beside them, stars shining above. Jimmy, Marina said suddenly. I need to tell you something. Jimmy's heart raced. Go ahead. I'm in love with you. The world stopped. Jimmy turned to her, eyes wide. Excuse me? He said, not believing what he heard. I'm in love with you, Marina repeated, voice firmer now. I don't know when it happened. I think it was a gradual process, but it's here. And it's real. And I needed to tell you because I can't keep this inside anymore. Jimmy stayed silent for so long Marina started to panic. He doesn't feel the same. Of course not. I'm too much baggage. I have a child. I have trauma. I have scars. Why would he want someone like that? But then Jimmy spoke. Marina, I've been in love with you since the 3rd day you stayed here, when you came down for breakfast in the morning and laughed at a silly joke Carmen made. It was the first time I saw you laugh, and I knew at that moment I was lost. Now it was Marina's turn to be speechless. You? You are? Why didn't you say anything? Because you were vulnerable. You were recovering from a horrible trauma. I couldn't take advantage of that. It would be wrong. So I waited. I waited for you to get stronger. I waited for you to recover. I waited for the right moment. Jimmy took her hand. And is this the right moment? He asked. This is the perfect moment, Marina answered. They kissed for the first time there, under the stars, with Sophia sleeping peacefully beside them. It was a gentle kiss, full of promise, full of future. 6 months later, Jimmy asked Marina to marry him. It was a simple night, no big production, no cameras, just the two of them and Sophia, who was now 1 year old. Marina, Jimmy said, kneeling in the garden, you came into my life when I least expected it, and changed everything. You gave me purpose, you gave me family, you gave me true love. I can't imagine my life without you and Sophia. You're my world. He took out a little box from his pocket. Will you marry me? Not because I saved you, but because I love you, because I want to wake up every day for the rest of my life with you by my side. Marina was crying. Yes, she said. 1,000 times yes. The wedding was small, just close family and friends. Jimmy's mother and sister came from Portland. Carmen was there. Dr. Amanda and Dr. Beatrice were invited. Some friends Marina had made in group therapy for domestic violence survivors. It was in the mansion garden. Marina wore a simple but beautiful dress. Jimmy wore a suit for the first time Marina had seen. Sophia was the flower girl and completely stole the scene. And when they said I do, Marina felt she was finally complete. 3 years later, Sophia's 3rd birthday party was happening. The garden was decorated with pink and gold balloons. There were over 200 people, children running, bouncy castle, huge candy table, and in the center of everything, Sophia, 3 years old, dark hair in curls, bright curious eyes, dressed as a princess, laughing like it was the happiest day of her life. Marina looked at her daughter with pride and love. That little girl who had survived inside her when everything was terrible. who had been her reason to fight, who now was the happiest and safest child in the world. "Can you believe 3 years ago you were in that parking lot?" Jimmy asked, putting his arm around her waist. "Seems like another life," Marina answered. "Because it was. You're a different person now. Stronger, more confident, happier." "Thanks to you," Marina said. "No," Jimmy corrected. "Thanks to you. You had the courage to accept help, courage to report, courage to rebuild. I just provided the resources. You did all the work." Marina rested her head on his shoulder. Was their life now perfect? No. There were still difficult days. There were still moments when Marina had nightmares about Derek. There were still scars, physical and emotional. But she had a family, had a husband she loved, had a beautiful daughter, had purpose. She had opened an NGO called Fresh Start that helped women victims of domestic violence, had already helped over 500 women leave abusive relationships, rebuild their lives, feel strong again. And every time she helped a woman, Marina remembered who she was that night. Bleeding, afraid, without hope. And she remembered that if she managed to survive and thrive, anyone could. That night, after the party, after Sophia slept, Marina and Jimmy were in the bedroom. "Jimmy?" Marina said. I'm pregnant again." Jimmy sat up in bed so fast he hit his head on the headboard. "Ow! What?" Marina laughed. "I'm pregnant. Again. We're going to have another baby." "A baby!" Jimmy shouted so loud Sophia woke up in the next room and started crying. They both started laughing as Jimmy ran to calm Sophia down, and Marina followed. And at that moment, Marina thought about how life was strange, how one moment can change everything. If Jimmy hadn't stopped in that parking lot, if he hadn't cared, if he hadn't helped, she doesn't know what would have happened. But he stopped, saw, helped, and changed 2 lives forever. No, 3 lives. Because Sophia had also been saved that night. And so ends the story of Marina and Jimmy. A story that began with violence, fear and blood, but ended with love, family, and hope. If you made it this far, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I want to ask you something very important. If you know someone who's going through domestic violence, help. Please, don't pretend you don't see. Don't ignore. Offer help. Give a phone number. Offer a place to stay. Go to the police station together. Anything. Because you could be the difference between life and death. In the United States, a woman is assaulted every 90 seconds. A woman is killed every 11 hours. And many have nowhere to go. Have no one to help. Be the Jimmy in someone's life. You don't need to be a millionaire. You just need to have the courage to help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. It operates 24 hours. If you're going through this, call. Report. You're not alone. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment telling us what you thought. Which part moved you most? If you know someone who needs to hear this story, share it. It could save a life. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Every week there's a new story. Real stories of people who didn't give up, who fought, who won. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for caring. Big hug. And remember, there's always hope. There's always a way out. Never give up. You're stronger than you imagine.